Entering the atmosphere in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast from OmegaMetroid.com. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined as always by Doom Crossing Doom. It does feel like it has been a long time, and because it has, we haven't recorded in like a week and a bit because we did an emergency episode when the Metroid Prime 4 trailer dropped in the latest Nintendo Direct, and now we are back at our regular schedule to record an episode about that trailer, frame by frame. How are you doing? How you feeling? What's going on?
Well, now I'm feeling great. I'm actually really glad we didn't record last week because I got the flu. I didn't get it as bad as some other people I know, so I'm grateful for that. But it happened right during my weekend too, and so it's just like, man, there's really no way to win when you have the flu. If you get it during your weekend, it's like, oh man, well my break is ruined. But then if you get it during work, it's like the most miserable work experience that you can think of, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. So
yeah, nonetheless,
we're on the other side. We're through. I'm probably gonna get my shot within the next week or so, just to make absolutely sure, even though I'm sure my immunity is like fully up and running. But yeah, flu, not fun. And while I was sick though, I was recording quite a few notes for this trailer here, and I've been watching a lot of breakdowns and analysis of like other people going through the trailer frame by frame as well. And there's definitely some shared thoughts, but also some stuff that I haven't seen other people talking about. So very excited to potentially break some new sightings to y'all.
Nice. I'm excited too. I've watched it a couple of times, but I haven't really had time to like really kind of sit and break it down. And one of the reasons why I've been trying to like really grind out and finish Sylux. I'm like 32 hours into this game. This game is incredible, by the way. Like, Metroid Prime 4 is going to have to be like just absolutely incredible to beat this out for my game of the year. But so I've been trying to finish that, and this is the game that just like keeps on going and going and going. So hopefully I'm going to be finished it within the next week here pretty quickly, and maybe I'm going to try and sneak in some Hades too before Metroid Prime and Age of Imprisonment come out. But yeah, so we do have a few things to go over today. Obviously, we're going to break down this trailer frame by frame. Doom's got his notes. You know what? We are going to talk and acknowledge some of the concerns and critiques that people have had with this trailer. Spoiler, my opinion is like lots of those critiques are in bad faith, and I just don't agree with a lot of them. So we'll get to that as well. But a couple of things that we should do before we start the show proper here, Doom. And the first thing that we should do actually is like a retraction, an official State of the Union apology here, because I had so many people messaging me on Discord and Blue Sky and even like Instagram, and these people were like, hey, you guys said that I can't even remember what the name of the game
is.
Human Fall Flat. Human Fall Flat is a Fall Guy ripoff. That's what you guys said on the podcast. And you know what? By God, we did say that. And I said it twice on the ZeldaCast as well. Now, apparently this game has been out for like 10 years before Fall Guys came out, and is like one of the best-selling games of all time.
Like, yeah, which is wild, because I had literally never heard of this game before this Direct. But yeah, apparently it's like 55 million sales or some ridiculous number. It's like, clearly, Andy, clearly we are old men that are out of the loop, obviously.
Dude, like, finger off the pulse. Like, we don't even have a pulse here, okay? So, the amount of people that were just like, you got to show some respect for Human fall flat. Human Fall Flat. Okay. Oh boy. So yes, here we are giving Human Fall Flat its due on the Omega Metroid podcast. We are sorry and respect for being one of the 10 highest selling games of all time. So I don't know. Maybe it is a big deal that this is coming to Nintendo Switch. I don't know. Perhaps it's a start of a new wave of prosperity for Human Fall Flat. But that is something that we just wanted to acknowledge off the top. The other thing that we should say, two things actually, both related to Omega Metroid's YouTube channel is that, number one, we are a hot, 7 months out of the Omega Metroid Marathon that we hosted in 2025, in February of 2025, supporting the Trevor Project. And finally, all of those videos are now uploaded individually on Omega Metroid's YouTube in their full glory. So if you just want to watch Super Metroid, if you just want to watch Metroid Dread, if you are an absolute sicko and you just want to watch Kirby, me play the Kirby Metroidvania, you can do that. And in fact, I watched the opening 5 minutes of Kirby just to see like my pain, and it was funny, but it was also like too close to home. So I was like, I can't watch any more of this. So I shut it off. But all of them are uploaded. So big thanks to that Metroid guy for doing that and getting them uploaded, as well as there is the newest video walkthrough on OmegaMetroid.com as well for Metroid Fusion. Doom repping the Fusion suit t-shirt right there. So you know what, I think at this point a lot of us obviously know how to play Metroid Fusion, know how to beat the bosses, know where the expansions are. So you know what, if you want to experience it in a different way, go ahead and follow our walkthrough, because like you can play it through my route, and even like the differences in the written walkthrough which we use for the guide versus like the execution in what Dominique did to put that guide together, like there are some differences as well. So it's just like a different way to play one of your favorite games, to enjoy one of your favorite games. So that is live and on the web or on the YouTube channel right now. So go check it out. Maybe give us a subscription while you're there. That'd be really cool. And yeah, lots of new content coming out this last week while we didn't take a week off, but there was a bigger delay than usual. So, and thank you to Mr. Doominal Crossing also for facilitating a lot of that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Dominique is such an incredible video editor. So I always just love like, going through these walkthroughs like a little bit. Like I don't watch it start to finish, but I was just like skimming some stuff and just seeing like all like the cool video transitions that he put in there. Like it always just blows my mind every time. I want to ask him if he can redo our podcast intro, because I already like what I did. I think he could make it like 100 times better, because he's so talented.
He's the man.
Shout out to Dom. And also, so we're recording this on Monday, where the Fusion guide has come out. Tomorrow, which will be yesterday for the viewers, the Metroid Zero Mission guide should have dropped for you guys as well. So definitely check that out as well. It's a double feature of Metroid content, just a little bit of something to make up for our absence last week.
That's right. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on over on the Omega Metroid YouTube page. And one last plug before we get to business here. The first episode of our new Patreon series has dropped. This is an episode called Gooey Plays Metroid, or a series rather, where my best friend Gooey Fame, who you guys might know from the Alien in Review series, you might know him from Virtual Theater, the podcast about video game movies and the stories that shaped them, or you might know him from Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast, or you might know the guy from Zelda Dungeon, because we do a lot of stuff over there together as well. We do a lot of projects together, and so for years and years and years, I've kind of been like, you should play this Metroid game, you should play that Metroid game. And I've got him to play a few, so he's played Metroid Prime, he's played Dread, he's played Super, but we wanted to like really kind of flesh out that experience and that catalog. So we decided to go in and just do a new series where he's going to be playing new Metroid games. And so we started off with Nestroid, and we had a really good time. We got up until the point where he's basically got everything in Brinstar, and now he has to pick and choose if he wants to go to Kraid or if he wants to go to Ridley. He's making his own hand-drawn map as well, which is actually like looks really good considering. So go check that out. Go check out his thoughts and experiences on it. And we're going to open up a poll for the next Metroid game that Gooey plays. And it doesn't have to be in chronological order. We can fire up anything. I am going to be voting for Other M myself personally, because hey, you know what? He's never played a bad Metroid game, and I'm curious his thoughts on Other M, to see if, as someone detached from Metroid to an extent, if he finds it maybe as offensive as a lot of us do. He's pretty forgiving of like odd control schemes and different things like that. So I do wonder how that might go. So that's going to be my vote. I encourage everybody to check us out over on Patreon to influence that vote as well. $4 gets you in the door, and you support the website and everything that we do here. So that would be super awesome. Patreon.com/SPNet. I thought the first episode was a hit. Actually, a lot of people had some really nice things to say.
Yeah, the map was so cool. I remember like a Minneapolis King in our Discord. He pointed out a section of the map and he kind of quizzed everyone like, "Hey, how many of you recognize this room?" I'm like, "Oh, I know. I'm not gonna spoil, but I was like, oh, I know exactly that layout, both in NES Troid and Zero Mission. Like that room is iconic." So really cool that Gooey was just able to like casually recreate that, and I was just like, "Oh, I see what you're doing right there."
Well, we got to give some props here because I've seen Gooey write before, and that man does not have good writing. Cartography? That was all McKenna. McKenna was the brains of the operation there. She was putting in the work. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think Gooey would have just been like a figure eight or something like that. So shout out to you, McKenna.
I don't think anyone needs to see my drawing skills. We'll stick with the music analysis. How about that?
You know, I'm gonna try and find this. Actually, you've reminded. When I was like 19, I drew this really cool picture of Samus fighting Ridley. I'm gonna try and find that because I thought, like, I'm not an artist by any means, but I was like, this is cool. Good job, Andy. And I thought I took a picture and uploaded it to Facebook. I'm on a mission now because that was like the one piece of art in my life where I was just like, this is cool. So if I could track it down, wish me luck. Okay.
And also, I just wanted to shout out. So I think you and I have kind of the same idea for what Gooey should play next, but I was thinking, you know, he got a taste of Federation Force. I think he needs to finish Federation Force.
Spoiler, he will finish Federation Force with me at the next marathon.
Okay.
Yeah. Us and two other poor souls are gonna go through that game. Hey, you know what? In the right context, that game is a blast. I don't care what anyone says.
It was my favorite segment of the whole marathon. I was having so much fun in the control room.
It is a really, really fun game in the right setting. Now, getting people to the right setting, that's the challenge. I wouldn't even say that about Triforce Heroes. I'm bringing my Zelda hat into this, but like Triforce Heroes is kind of like a similar gimmick, but even that with other people is still pretty rough. Like Federation Force with other people is like, I would actually say it's like really fun. But yeah. But I would also say that even solo, it's not terrible either. It's just kind of, it's like room temperature water a little bit. There we go. All right.
Main event
time. Are you ready? Okay,
I've been pumped for this all week.
The latest Metroid Prime 4 trailer has come out. And my goodness, there was a lot of talk about this trailer and a lot of divisive reactions, I think, to what was shown in this trailer. But I'm just gonna go right off the top here and say, like, I loved this trailer. I thought this was so great. I thought this was like such a great hook for the game. It was that kind of like gimmick that we wanted to know what the game was about. We got our answer in this trailer. We teased it up last week. We talked about how cool Viola was. We talked about kind of the open area, all that kind of stuff. And here we are now going to break it down frame by frame.
Yeah, I don't have anything new to say that I didn't say last week. After this trailer, this looks like the most ambitious Metroid title since the original Metroid Prime. I stand with that. For all I know, this game could be terrible. Mario Kart World became my most anticipated title after that Switch 2 Direct. I've been very vocal about how disappointed I was in that game. Same thing could happen to Metroid Prime 4 for all I know. I won't know until I play it. But just from this trailer, I love what I'm seeing, and I see the vision. I see so much potential, and there's so much that we haven't seen. But from what we have seen, I absolutely adore it. For me, this was the trailer that I needed to really get hooked into this game beyond it, pun not intended, beyond it just being a Metroid game.
I'm with you.
Yeah, very excited. And that was just on the initial viewing, especially after really deep diving into this trailer. I'm significantly more excited because there's so many cool details that are hidden throughout that trailer.
Okay, so before we get going with the trailer, I do want to say, and we've already plugged it, but this is a good time to head over to Omega Metroid's YouTube page, because if you're listening in podcast form, which I imagine 99% of you probably are, you're going to miss the accompanying video to our discussion here. And I'm going to shout out the timestamps as best as I can, but there are some times where we're going to be going frame by frame. We're going to be kind of going back and forth a little bit. It's going to be a lot easier just to watch along. So if you're able to, go over to our YouTube page. We'll have the whole episode up there. We'll have the timestamps. We're just watching it on YouTube, so you could see the timestamps for yourself. And we'll kind of watch the trailer that way together. So yeah, that's the final plug. And I guess we should get started here, Doom, if you're ready.
Yeah, I am very excited to talk about this.
Okay, so let's press play right now. So switch to,
right.
You know what? I'm going to
So
pause it like right away at 4 seconds, actually.
I was going to say, I wanted to pause it at like the 7-second mark at least.
This structure just looks like so absolutely awesome. Like, I'm kind of going forward frame by frame. Like, it's this hulking temple almost. You can see some shooting stars up in the corner there. This looks absolutely incredible, I think.
Yeah, this thing looks awesome. It looks very H.R. Geiger-esque almost.
Yes.
Like I don't know how to describe. Like it's not quite organic, but like it looks so ethereal and mystical, but still like grounded in Metroid's reality. And then you also have like this thunderstorm happening inside, which absolutely is Metroid vibes. Definitely giving me like kind of a mixture of like Elysia with like Crateria, and then like maybe some other new influences as well. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely love this opening shot. I there was something about the second I saw this shot immediately, even though like it doesn't scream Metroid at first, I was like, this is totally Metroid Prime 4. There's something about it.
Yeah, I mean, like you're right. It's very Geiger coded. Like this would be imagery right at home in any Alien movie. This looks like so cool. I'm on the 6-second mark right now, and we can see like lightning just crashing into a lightning rod at the temple right here. I'm assuming it's a temple. I don't actually know. That's what I'm just going to call it. Just a absolutely spectacular shot and spectacular visual here. And as we'll see later as well, there's some ramps up here, so you can clearly ride Viola, the motorcycle, into the structure. So lots of cool shots of lightning, lots of cool shots of just this temple, and I'm at 7 seconds, so we'll keep on going here.
Yeah, I was gonna say at the 7-second mark we see like kind of this tube-like structure going to the spire on the right side, and we're gonna see something similar once the bike is actually introduced, where Samus like jumps a gap into it, and I think this is another one of those platforms. This one looks like it's fully connected though.
Mm-hmm. Now, question before we proceed. Would you like me to share with sound, or do you want me to turn sound off?
Let's do sound off for now, just because just in case the sound is blocking off our voices, unless you have it like on its own audio channel.
It'll be quiet, but we can go sound off. That's no problem at all.
Okay.
Okay, so 8 seconds, we're going to press play.
Yeah. So my next note is on the 13-second mark. So I'm just going to fast forward there on my end.
13 says so here again we could see the structure, more lightning, and what is going on in the left there, like these little almost like fireflies or something like that.
Yeah, so the structure on the left is lit up, and we're going to see more shots of this area later in the trailer. Some of these towers have these lights and some of them don't, and so yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but one thing that is going to be very important later that I wanted to take note of is the clouds. So if you look on the structure on the left side, the clouds are very dark, and then if you look on the right side, there's a lot more sun bleeding in to these clouds. It almost looks like we're in like the middle of like a hurricane. And then this place is almost like a generator of sorts. I'm gonna go more into that later, but like keep the dark left side and the sun bleeding into the right. Keep that in mind for later on in the trailer.
Yeah, I think like my interpretation is, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead. Like this seems to me like maybe it's an area that has like a permanent storm or something like that, and you can harness that storm energy with these lightning rods that are being used to attract and power presumably something. But yeah, very very stormy. You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of like on Jupiter that's got like that big eye or whatever, like that moving storm that is like as big as planet Earth. Like that's kind of the same vibes that I'm getting from here, only that there's like a structure or a civilization inside it. So very cool. And you see like lots of lightning strikes here in quick succession as we fade to black at about the 15-second mark here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm pausing at 18 seconds here for a quick sec. The wheels. The wheels. We're rolling. I love this, man.
Keep rolling, rolling, rolling.
Okay. Let's I'll tell you. Tell me your next timestamp and I can pause there and I'll pause before if I have anything.
My next timestamp isn't until like the 32, 33 second mark. So if there's anything you want to talk about before then, I'll hand the reins off to you.
I do, because I do want to I just want to acknowledge like Samus like suiting up. Like we were kind of joking around in the Discord earlier today, and I posted like the Batman and Robin like gearing up kind of gif. But I mean, this just looks like so awesome. There is something just about like a cool suit up, isn't there, where like Samus puts her arm in. This shot over at 21 seconds I thought was really interesting, where there's clearly room for Samus's arm cannon to fit into the bike as well. So I know that some people were maybe theorizing that is there a way that the arm cannon could be retracted for a quick second for the power suit to reflect just like two hands, let's call them. And clearly that's not the case. There is a spot for your arm cannon on the bike, which I kind of love, because it's like it's goofy enough, but it's also true to Samus, like, and Metroid in general, where like there's all these arm cannon shaped orifices around these alien planets. So I kind of love this.
Yeah, and even in situations where like it would make sense to Samus retract her arm, like the big one that comes to mind is like the monkey bars in Fusion. Like, does it make any sense? No, not really. But like, you just kind of go with it anyways, and I love it.
Yeah, that's got suction power in there. Now I want to pause here at 23 seconds. So this is what I was kind of referring to last week, Doom, as we get a shot of Samus powering up her bike here. The center of Viola very, very strongly looks like that artifact that Sylux shoots in the opening kind of intro of Metroid Prime 4 to kind of set this whole conflict into motion here. Not saying that it's one and the same, but it definitely bears a pretty strong similarity to that artifact, whatever that artifact may be.
Yeah, I don't think it's the artifact, but clearly like it's using the same energy. Like all the purple energy that we're seeing like throughout the trailer, I think is all related together.
Yeah.
Including like this Samus's visor color change as well when she gets on Viros.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so 23 seconds. Let's press play. My God, purple energy just swirling through the bike. I'm gonna pause it and at 27 seconds for a quick sec. I love the little HUD interface that's on her bike, and a pretty cool shot of the neck plating of her new suit as well, which isn't really something that you see very often, but it is like it does look just like really slick. I don't know how else to describe it, but this suit I think is kind of grown on me. Not that I didn't like it when I saw it, but like now that I'm watching and looking at some of the intricate details, it's just like this is a really, really cool looking suit here. So my thought would be this is the first animation, like the first time that Samus gets Viola, and like you don't necessarily see this every time that she gets on, but
Right.
yeah, really cool shot.
Yeah, there's also some really cool details like so like Metroid Prime Remastered in Samus's visor and lights, it added like those little pattern details, and we see like a new version of that in Prime 4, but in this Viola suit it's actually got a new pattern rather than like those like triangle like patterns that are in the visor. Now it's replaced with like these subtle swirl like patterns in the visor, which I think is a really cool detail as well.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's keep it moving. We are at 27 seconds, so going to press play now.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I gotta
Yeah,
pause
so
one
like
more
I
time.
said,
28 seconds. My God, this suit looks so incredible. The way that the swirls, like the shoulder kind of comes up, and then the arm, like the red swirls around. The psychic node on top of Samus's helmet just looks so cool. This is one of my favorite like visor designs actually. I think for the series, this looks really wicked.
yeah. This one's. I think the psychic node, particularly with this suit, really works. I still like it on the Various suit as well, but like here, I like it's clearly designed with this suit in mind.
Yeah.
It's actually it's really funny because I remember when we were talking about the second trailer when they revealed the suit at the very end. You know, we mentioned how like kind of slick and almost like Formula One racing it looked, and yeah, I feel like that those design details like really paid off for what it delivers on.
Pretty apt. Yeah. So okay, 28 seconds. Let's press play.
Yeah, and like I said, my next note is going to be around the 32-second mark.
Okay, so 32 seconds. I've just paused it here. Samus has just landed onto the ground, and and yeah, she's on Viola, and we are speeding away. So Doom, if you have anything to share with us, take it away, my friend.
So we come out of this large structure. Obviously, this is like, this is the big climactic moment of the trailer where it's like official. Yep, we got a bike in this game. That's the big focus, but there's some other really keen details in the background that I wanted to point out. So obviously, Samus comes out of the structure, and a lot of people are going to the assumption that this is an open world game. We've been pretty adamant that that's not going to be the case, that this is probably going to be more of an open zone. And I think there's a lot of details just in this shot alone, though there's more that I'm going to talk about later. But in this shot alone, when Samus comes out, if you look behind her, there's like this gated area that's like blocking off the rest of the desert except for that little section she comes out of. And so I think that's a pretty big hint pointing towards this being more of like kind of an open-ended zone. I actually think there's going to be multiple in this game. I don't think it's just going to be this desert area, but I'll get to that later as well. But yeah, so there's that. And then there's also some crates seen on the left side, and I'm not exactly sure what faction they belong to. They don't quite look like Galactic Federation crates.
Which
but,
does
so they
does
could be
make
Lamorne.
sense if they're not Galactic
Yeah.
Federation, but yeah, they just
Yeah.
look like regular crates to me.
Yeah, they could be Lamorne crates, they could be Space Pirate crates, they could be some other factional crates that we don't know about, but they don't quite look like Federation crates. We're going to see those pop up at the very end of the trailer again, though, so I thought it was interesting that we saw those twice. And then, yeah, the bike throughout all the gameplay is presented in an open configuration while, so when you see the bike, I'm trying to describe this. If you look at the wheels and how it's lined up, it's presented in like this stretched configuration when it's in motion, where the wheels like pop out. But if you look at the amiibo and kind of the render that amiibo is in, the bike, it has this more closed in configuration, and when it speeds up, the wheels seem to stretch out, or at least I believe it's related to this. At least I believe it's related to the speed of the bike. But that's something that I noticed that I thought was really cool.
Let's see. I'm just gonna. So I'm at 33 seconds, and I'm going forward here, and I can't tell. I mean, it certainly seems like the wheels do kind of stretch out and overtake the rim. Let's just call it, of the bike itself, and I think. Yeah, I think they do. Maybe it's just the camera shot that we're looking at, but it certainly looks like that.
Well, they definitely do. I'm just not sure whether or not it's related to the speed, but I think it might be related to the speed. But like, yeah, everywhere in the shot, like the forward and back wheel are like retracted, but like if you look at the actual render, like the whole frame is like closed in, so it's able to like morph basically.
Oh, well, here we go. 35 seconds. We got just a real cool close-up shot of
That's my next note actually is on 35. So there's actually, obviously, again, your eyes are going to be focused on the bike here. That's the main feat, but again, so much stuff in the background, including some payoff to something that I was alluding to earlier. So obviously we have our first look at the desert open zone. There's a nearby cliffside kind of in the background in that close-up shot before Samus does the wheelie. If you look, there's like this cliffside edge, and I believe that's another one of these boundary lines that's kind of segmenting this open zone. I don't think that background is accessible, at least from here. Maybe
I
it's
don't
something
think
you
so,
can
no.
access from. Maybe it's something you can access from like another area, but I don't think that's something you could just. I don't think it's like Breath of the Wild where it's like, oh, we see that in the background and we can go to it. I think this is.
I would be very surprised. I think the consensus is like that these are open zones. I like you said, let's just call them more like there's a big area. You know what would be kind of like a good comparable is actually like the Pokemon games. Like they have these open wild areas and stuff like that where like there's large areas where you can roam and there's Pokemon wandering around, but you can't necessarily climb mountains, or like there's very strict boundaries that you can see. Or maybe even like a Zelda Ocarina of Time would be a good example. Like in Hyrule Field, like that was kind of an open zone. It's big enough, you can see stuff in the distance, but you can't necessarily climb everything that you see.
I'll have to take your word for it, but yeah, I think we're definitely like in the park. This is an open zone, and I think this boundary line is just another kind of piece that kind of points in that direction. But one other thing I wanted to point out in this shot here is if we look towards the left side in the background, there's what looks like this very, I don't want to say dormant volcano, but it's not like actively spewing lava, but if it almost looks like a mountain, but if you look very closely, there's smoke coming out of the top, which indicates more of a volcano than a mountain, and I think that's going to be an area that we briefly visit later on in the trailer.
Yeah, maybe. Very, very possible, I would think. Okay, so let's, and I guess a couple other quick notes here as well. We can see we got like a mini map up there, but there's no designated like rooms or anything like that, so that definitely kind of leads credence to the fact that this is just like an open zone to explore. I'm sure like once we'll come across it later, like a couple like settlements or outposts or something like that they will show up on your map and we can explore it then. And there's there you can also see in the bottom right, I'm gonna assume this is your speed and maybe like fuel as well or something like that. But what I want to focus on here is this wheelie that Samus is about to do, because we had a lot of people say that like, oh, the animations are bad, the animations aren't good, and because of this one wheelie here. I actually thought that this was a camera cut the first time that I saw it, and I'm going in super slow motion here. I'm at 37 seconds, and I'm going to try and get the exact time here for everybody. But it's at 30. Yeah, okay, so at 37 seconds, you immediately go from on the ground to Samus's wheels are up. Now, I can't tell if it's a camera cut or not. I don't know. It kind of looks like one, but
we thought it was a camera cut earlier. I have been able to verify it's not a camera cut. That's just what it. There's another section in the trailer where the exact same thing happens, where she performs another wheelie. There was definitely a lot of talk in our Discord about it, and like, when you look at it and you really notice it, it is a little bit of a janky animation, but again, it's a minor detail, especially like with the rest of the trailer. The rest of the animation of the trailer looks so fantastic. So yeah, it's something that, like, do I hope it gets fixed? Sure. It's kind of similar to when I was talking about that recoil animation during the very first Metroid Prime trailer. It's like, do I hope it gets fixed? Yeah, and it did get fixed later on. But at the same time, if it didn't, whatever. It's not a big deal. That's not of all the concerns that I could possibly have on this game, this is like at the bottom of the list.
And so I struggle because I sound dismissive when I say this, and I don't mean to, but like for me this is like a total who cares. Like I just like, unless you're like literally doing what we're doing now, going frame by frame and kind of dancing back and forth, like it doesn't matter to me. No, is one or two extra frames in there going to really kind of like make this pop for me? No. Like I don't know. But I do acknowledge there were some people that took some issue with this, and you know what, that's fair. I really don't think, like, you know, sometimes the morph ball animation can be a little bit janky in Metroid Prime still, right? Like not all the time is it perfect depending on where you are, and that's kind of like what I'm thinking when I'm watching this. So that was a pretty nothing burger to me, but there were some people that did take a little bit of umbrage with this.
But yeah, so the next piece that I want to talk about is actually like really close by at the 38-second mark.
Well, let's just keep on
first
going
off,
frame by frame here.
so so this right here is where I really disagree with like the bland open desert. Like this is such a killer vista right here on the 38-second shot. I love this, but again, there's a lot of payoff that's about to happen here.
Yeah.
So if we look closely,
Can I just say something
yeah,
really quick about this bland open desert? I just like, what do you want to see in a desert? You know what like, it's a desert, okay? Like, beyond the all the enemies that we see, beyond all the outposts that we see, beyond the vistas that we see, beyond the like landmarks and stuff, like, that's a pretty full desert to me. Like what exactly are we looking for in this desert? Like, what do we want the sand to look like differently to really get this desert across? I saw a lot of people. So again, I don't want to be dismissive of this concern, but like a lot of people are like, "Oh, this desert is very bland and there's nothing there." And it's like, it's a desert, dude. Like, it's probably designed so that you can rip around on Viola. And it's
Exactly.
there's not just nothing there. There's enemies, there's outposts, there's structures, there's like check. So like I feel like I was going crazy listening to people talk about this desert.
Yeah, there's landmarks, there's points of references, like, yeah, there's everything. And again, for all we know, maybe when we review this game in December, maybe we'll both hate the desert area. Maybe we will think that it ends up being bland in gameplay. I don't know. I haven't played it yet. But I think just from this trailer, I'm in agreement with you. I think it's a really bad faith criticism. Especially because throughout the trailer, we see so many areas besides just the desert. Like, this is clearly just one small portion of a much larger game.
Well, and I'm sure that you were about to make this point, but like, even at the 38-second mark here, you could clearly see like the trees and everything like that on the horizon. Like, that, this is one area of the game. I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the opening area that we saw when we first were introduced to the planet Vuros. Like, that wouldn't surprise me here.
So I was actually going to get to that. I was actually going to get to that at about the 39-second mark, but the 38-second mark, there's actually something really interesting going on. So if we look to our left, there's this long, narrow bridge that kind of leads out, and then it kind of fades out like once the cloud line hits it. But if you look very closely, it looks like there's this hurricane happening, and the left side is very dark, and the right side has the sun shining on it. I believe this bridge is heading to the area that we saw at the beginning of the trailer, and I do believe that this is a permanent storm that's being generated by this facility.
Yeah,
so I think it's giving us a little tease. Yeah, so I think it's giving us a little tease of how, I don't know if this is how we first enter the area or if this is going to be another exit area, but I definitely think what we're seeing off in the distance is that H.R. Geiger-esque area for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought because like the storms look identical, and that's why I was kind of saying like it reminds me of Jupiter, like that one permanent cycle storm that's there. That kind of the same idea here. So I think that is pretty. I would feel like very confident saying that is the case here, and yeah, that's and we can see too, by the way, the speed in our bike is just cranking up. So we're at 720 and you're not even 3/4 of the way full yet. So probably like 1,000 is your max speed. I'm pretty excited to crank this bad boy in this empty open desert and see how fast we can go.
Yeah, I wonder what the unit of measurement they're using to draw that out, because that is definitely not 700 miles per hour. I'll tell you that right now. That is like yeah, that's definitely not going 700 miles per hour. So I'm curious to see.
Maybe it's kilometers like we have in Canada.
Maybe, you know what? It's the future. They probably use the correct unit of measurement in the future. I would have to imagine.
So at 40 seconds, let's press play and let's keep going. You know what? Actually, before I press play, I can't tell if that's just rocks on Samus's left there, but something anyways. A couple, and you see it in a little bit further on as well. I don't know if that's supposed to be like plant life or what, but nevertheless, let's keep going here.
So I was actually going to talk about this later, but I think we can talk about this now actually.
Sure.
Our pals over at Shine Sparkers, they put out this really cool translation of the Japanese Metroid Prime 4 website after the Direct went up. And one of the things that I'm surprised wasn't put on any of the other regions, it was only mentioned on the Japanese website, is they mentioned that in while Samus is riding the bike in the desert, she can collect ore using bike attacks, and I believe
Oh, there you go.
that these are and I believe that these crystal-like looking structures are the ore. We can actually also see these on the cover art of the game as well. If we look at what I assume is the same desert, because we also see same looking building structures that we'll get to in a bit as well. But yeah, I believe that these crystals are going to be this ore resource that the website talks about. Now, what can we do with the ore? We can really only speculate on. That hasn't been confirmed. But yeah, according to the Japanese website, yeah, that is a resource that we can collect and use
I would
for
be
something.
shocked if ore doesn't power Viola. That seems natural to me. That like you can't just ride around Viola like infinitely. I think you probably have to collect ore to power it. Would be my guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we will see.
Okay, 40 seconds here. We got a side view, again, of Samus in the dunes, but this time we have some sort of trailer or outpost or something like that in the distance that has smoke coming out of the top of it here, which actually, interestingly, I'm looking at the mini-map and it doesn't necessarily show up, or at least in the way that you might suspect. It does say there is a green block towards Samus's west, so maybe that's kind of telling us, because Samus is facing east in this. Yeah, she's facing east in this. So
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm not sure. So actually, I'm not sure if Viola has fuel, because I'm looking at the speedometer meter, and it's fully green now. I think that meter to the left of the speedometer, I think that's a boost meter, not a fuel meter. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe it
maybe
does run
maybe
on
for the
fuel and the ore
boost
does
then
power
or
it.
something. Yeah.
But yeah,
I would
yeah.
be shocked
I
if it
think
didn't power Viola in some way. Put it that way.
right. Yeah, yeah. It definitely. I definitely think at the very least it's related to Viola. I agree, especially since you can only, according to the Japanese website, you have to use Viola attacks to extract the resource.
I also want to take a quick second
this-
here just to shout out, like, people were talking about the desert looks bad. I'm on, like, paused at 40 seconds here, sideways view. I think the sand of the desert looks really detailed and good here.
Yeah, yeah. It
I don't know
looks
what to say.
awesome. Like the bump. Yeah, yeah. This looks. Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks really. It looks like really like finely textured, which I'm surprised considering how big and open it is. You know, you would expect, and I'm sure there's other areas where like the open zones are going to be like a little bit less detailed than like the more closed off zones
Yeah.
where they can like put more artistic details in there. We even see like some very minor pop-in if you like look really close in the distance. But yeah, like yeah, the surface here and the way like the light interacts with it just looks awesome. The shadow detail on the bike looks really cool as well. Like I would expect like the shadows to be a little bit more pixelated, but no, like the shadow detail on it looks really nice. And you also get a much closer shot of that giant tree, which I presume is that same giant tree that we've seen in the jungle area on Vuros as well. Again, like another landmark showing you where that is. We also see to our right, we see this mountain range pointing up. Not the same as the volcano one. This is a legitimate mountain, and I believe this is another area that we're going to see later on in the trailer as well.
Pretty scary
mentioned-
looking mountain area too.
Yeah, yeah. This one almost does look like what's the name of the dueling peaks from Breath of the Wild? It kind of
I
reminds
was
me
just
of, like,
thinking that
one
actually.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one side of the dueling peaks almost.
Yeah.
But this structure is really interesting. The one that you mentioned, that's the one that's smoking. That tells me that this was recently damaged or recently attacked. So it hasn't been sitting here for very long. And unlike the crates, this very much does look like a Galactic Federation structure. So I'm curious if this was like something that was transported with the Federation in Vuros during the intro where the artifact goes haywire, or if this is something that they built manually after they were transported to Vuros. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely getting Federation vibes from that little trailer structure in front of us. And I'm guessing that's like some sort of if you've played a lot of open world games, there's like random events that can happen or little side quests. That to me feels like kind of like a side quest area that you can go and do something. Maybe there's like a space pirate raid happening on this little base, and you go with Vuros, you interact, and then if you get that fight, you get like some sort of bonus, whatever that might be. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from that.
Yeah, I could definitely say I'm not ready to say like it's Federation yet, but I would certainly say that's the likely outcome for this outpost here. But this to me again, like it's we said this isn't an open world game, but this is a staple of like open world titles where like you can see those little like settlements or to use your term, like side quests that you can go and engage with. I do expect that Metroid Prime 4 will have like dedicated side quests, much like actually Silksong probably does them as well, where they're just like little things that you can open your menu and keep track of in your logbook. I would expect like a lot of that, especially given these free open zone areas here. But yeah, we'll fast forward a couple seconds here, and now we can see yet another. This doesn't even look like an outpost. This looks like something absolutely massive in the canyon here. And a couple of quick things. Number one, we can see that here, Samus's speed meter, that little green meter beside, has 2 extra expansions on it. So like that definitely could be maybe some sort of expansion that we get, or maybe it's just like you can collect enough of the ore to augment your powers or whatever have you. But that's something that we definitely see. And we also see, I can't tell if this is a freestanding enemy, this little star or sun-shaped thing here, or if it's attached to the structure in the background as well. And it looks like it's pretty close to the base of that gnarly mountain that we were just talking about. So my spidey senses are telling me here that you need to basically fight your way into the outpost. And once you get into this blue door, that's when you get into the mountain area, and then you can get off Viola and start exploring.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I actually didn't notice those little expansions on the boost meter, so good call out there. I actually wanted to go back a little bit to about 45 or 46, the shot where we see like a very zoomed out Samus, because there's also some cool stuff going on here that I wanted to point out.
Oh, you're right. I totally skipped it actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're all good. Yeah, so on the left side we can see a little bit more of that mountain range. So I think we're on kind of. Yeah, so I think it looks so awesome. Yeah, again, how can anyone look at this and says this looks bad?
It looks so fantastic. Good. It looks so good.
But yeah, if you look at the far corner, you can see kind of the edge of that mountain area. But on our right, we have another one of these structures. It looks like something that's actually like being built in progress. Maybe it was abandoned at some point, but it looks like an incomplete structure. What's really interesting though, if you look near where Samus is, just barely at the top right, there's this crate that's in the ground. There's a couple that are buried in the ground, but I want to look at the one that's like actually facing upright. If you play the video, it's actually blinking, which tells me that can be interacted with, and that there's something you can get from that crate.
Yeah,
maybe it's more ore, maybe it's weapons, maybe I don't know, maybe Prime 4 has an XP system and you get XP. I don't know, but like there is something in that chest that Samus can grab for sure.
I just gotta say, like, one more time, look at the shot of this desert. I feel like I'm being gaslit by people that say that this desert looks bad and boring. Like, this looks awesome.
You are being gaslit.
Like, this looks incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I just had to get that out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that the game is doing all this and like still holding like 60 FPS, like at least on the Switch 2 version, we'll see how the Switch 1 version looks, but yeah, this whole trailer just looks absolutely fantastic. Everyone else is lying as far as I'm concerned, but
I wouldn't be surprised too if like complexes like this have like an elevator that you can go down in and explore somewhere underground.
I could absolutely see that. Absolutely, yeah. There's also this other like Lemorne looking structure in the background. I don't think we've seen this thing. It looks like the Spire platform. It's like kind of in the center right in the background, and it's kind of jutting out. It's just past the boundary line of this desert. So it looks like something you can't access from this area, but it's something you can see from this area to kind of give you a tease of like where to explore later in the game. We're gonna see another one of these actually shortly later on in either the next scene or the scene after that during the bike fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's multiple of these. There's something clearly important about these structures But yeah, I'm not sure.
They remind me of
what their
Sheikah
purpose
Towers, is what they remind me of. Maybe a way to map the area.
Maybe, that's actually not a bad idea. That could be it.
Yeah.
And then last thing, more of not a gameplay detail, but just more of a cool subtle detail. If you look in the top right hand corner, you can see the planet's rings orbiting the planet as well. There's another shot where you can see the other side of it near where like the hurricane area is. It's a little bit harder to see, but this shot you can really see the rings of the planet kind of arcing in, which I don't think is something. I don't think a Metroid Prime game has shown off like rings in the background before. So
I don't think we've
I'm
been to a
big
planet
sucker.
with rings before, have we?
Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm a big sucker for planets with rings. So I think that's such a cool detail.
Now I'm trying to remember if ZDR had rings or not, but nevertheless, yeah, that does look really, really cool. I've went much too far. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's press play. And sorry, I was skipping ahead earlier. So now we're going to go back to the fight scene on the bike. And it looks like my own question is answered. The sun structure is moving, and it's definitely something that moves around. This looks like the machines from the Matrix, actually. This looks really cool.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
So this one
so
right
we can
here,
see
it's
here.
like it's dropping these it's dropping energy bombs from the sky, which are also purple. So I'm getting the feeling this is more of that Vuros energy.
Yeah.
Could be a coincidence, but I'm definitely getting Vuros energy vibes from it being used as an attack.
You can
And then
lock
you also
on
have
as well, which is pretty nifty. And missiles look like they shoot right from the bike too.
yeah, and then later on in the scene at about the 51 mark, we actually see the missiles connect with the enemy, and it crashes into the ground, but it doesn't explode. And so I'm almost wondering if like when it crashes into the ground, you can like raid the enemy husk for like parts and stuff like that, or if it's one of those things where it just explodes later. But like usually with flying enemies in the Metroid Prime games, they either explode on sight, or I guess in the case of like the flying pirates, sometimes they'll kamikaze you. But yeah, this one it just like kind of crashes into the ground and just stays there, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh, and here we go. Okay, we're at the 50-second mark. Samus is revving up. We've got bombs everywhere. Man, this looks great. This looks super fun. We've got some circular enemies here, kind of some Star Wars prequel vibes here. Missiles going crazy. Again, tons and tons of detailed like dunes and stuff like that in the background. So do not let anybody tell you that this desert is empty. And actually, if we pause at the 51-second mark, you can once again see something way off in the distance there. Don't know what that is, but right here, some sort of structure. I don't know what it is, but
So I believe that's the same type of structure that I was just pointing out, that Lamorne one, the one that you think might be like maybe like a map
maybe.
tower.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks like the same kind of structure. Obviously a different one though, because it's located in a different portion of the map. But yeah, definitely important. There's a few shots in this section where we get much better look at these crystal-like formations.
Yeah, there they are. Yeah, they're and big crystal deposits too, like very big. So, okay, let's keep going here. We have another shot of the wheelie animation here. So, yeah, it could definitely use some refinement for sure, but I don't know, not something I'm super concerned about. Yeah. I am more just like looking forward to wheelie attacking enemies, and like here we have the Akira Drift, which just looks so awesome.
Yeah,
Man.
I'm loving this timeline where the Akira slide is a thing in Metroid now.
Someone's got to
I'm
do
trying
that
see-
crossover artwork if it hasn't been done already.
Yeah, I'm looking out at the map. So it looks like the speed right here maxes out at 915.
Yeah.
That looks like the max, and it looks like that bottom portion that's lighting up there is from the boost.
Yeah, I wonder if you could increase, if that's like an expansion or something that you can get for Viola. That would be pretty nifty.
Hey, that sounds like something you should be able to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we see the structure with the storm from the same opening of the trailer. We see the same tree, same, I don't know, call it the Sheikah Tower for right now, the Lamorne Tower. So clearly the same area, just showing off the Akira slide, which just looks absolutely incredible. I will say, like, I think the animations, to give their due, the animation we're going for the wheelie, okay, maybe could use a little bit, but I think this animation going from the Akira slide back to like just driving straight looks really slick. So wanted to shout that out as well.
Yeah, there was also some talk in the Discord about that. I'll be honest, I frankly don't see the critique there. I think the slide animation, even in slow mo, just looks fantastic. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep on going here. We're at 54 seconds. We're gonna press play. Oh, and here we go. Pausing it. 55 seconds. We are. Dude, this looks so great. This again looks like it's right from the Matrix when like the machines have all the humans in the pods. But we are diving over the heavens. We're jumping on Viola. This looks incredible. Lightning is striking the entrance to this whatever this is, this temple, this holding pod, this structure, and Samus, just like an absolute boss, just riding over Viola, jumping across the distance, landing in a very narrow walkway, and proceeding into the Geiger Tower here. This looks so great. And this is where I'm just like, for everyone being like, oh, man, the bike might get repetitive or boring, like, go and jump across a vista here, okay? And then talk to me.
Yeah, this looks absolutely awesome. And also, one thing to point out, so first off, you're not the only one that's made those Matrix comparisons. I've seen a ton of, like...
Okay.
I've seen a ton of people making those as well, so you are definitely not alone there.
That's exciting. Cool.
Yeah, I'm certainly not opposed to some Matrix getting to my Metroid. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give me that Wachowski influence. But yeah. So this looks awesome. If we pause, we can actually see the mini map appearing in the top right hand corner where it wasn't in that open zone. So I believe this is kind of like the transition area where we're going back into the area. So we can still use the bike. We can still use the bike at full power in some of the non-open zones at least during these transitional periods.
Yeah, it looks like the jump is definitely the key for that, for sure. You know what, actually, you have the mini-map even before the jump, I stand corrected. I'm just trying to go back a little bit here, but yeah.
Yeah, and if we look closely, so on the area, so this time the bright sunny areas on the left side and the darker areas are starting to appear on the right. So I think we're on the other side of where our camera was facing earlier when we were looking at the structure.
Yeah, you can see the original bridge there on the left.
Yeah.
I think that's the original bridge.
Yeah, it looks similar at least. Like you can still see like those devices sticking out that was attracting the lightning bolts. So yeah, that might be. So yeah, we might be on the right side actually, if not behind it. And yeah, this time, if this is the same structure though, then this one has lights this time. So I don't know if that's just this side or if something happened to the structure that caused those lights to appear. Something Samus might have done.
I can see that
an area event, and then that would also mean, and then the one to the right also was not lit up before, and that one also has lights too. So yeah, very interesting indeed. I definitely had some notes here as well.
I'll tell you what, we're at 59 seconds. Let's keep playing, and now we are going to. I'm going to pause it here at 1 minute exactly, and there's a couple of different things going on here that I want to talk about. So first and foremost is we're going to see where it says speed limited. So obviously there are, let's call them like traditional areas of Metroid where it seems like you can use Viola, but maybe not to the ripping around extent that we're used to here. A good look at our radar up in the top left there. Looks pretty standard, and as well as your mini map that you've got up in the top right as well, which does look familiar to Metroid Prime and how we have had those maps before. I got to be honest, I was hoping for a kind of a redesign for the maps that was like a little bit more 2D than 3D. I always appreciated the 3D like Metroid Prime maps, but it can get tricky to navigate them sometimes. But it looks like we're just going for kind of more of that same style here.
Yeah, I actually I wanted to go to the 56-second mark here, back to our matrix area. So if we so Samus is on the other side now, and she's boosting forward. If we look just at the top, there's this structure that almost looks like a morph ball tunnel. It looks a little bigger than a morph ball tunnel actually, and there's some objects blocking the end of it. But if you look near the center, there's like some light and mist popping out that almost looks like Samus can enter whatever that little tubing structure is. So that definitely looks like a place that we can explore. I'm also wondering if that's like a new bike path, because it does look a bit large for the morph ball, and it does look like something that maybe the bike can just barely
I don't
fit
think a
into.
bike is fitting in there. That'd be pretty snug. That would be pretty darn
Let's
snug.
see.
Yeah, we'll come back to I want to just, man, I really want to talk about this transition off the bike here, and I want to
so
do it
good.
slow motion. So definitely looks like we're inside of some kind of structure here. We're going to see Samus, and we're at the 1 minute mark here. She's ripping to a stop. She is going to more or less park Viola, and here we go. The jump off. She's going to do an awesome looking flip, and bam, right into first person view. This looks as great as the morph ball animation looked back in the day. Like, this was just absolutely seamless. This looks absolutely incredible, this animation.
Yeah, and honestly, this is precisely why I'm not worried about like the wheelie animation at all, because
Yeah.
it's like 99.9% of these animations are top notch. If one of them looks slightly off, so be it. But yeah, this just looks absolutely flawless. This area, I think, is the that volcanic area in the background that I was talking about earlier, because we do have some lava flow happening throughout the area. This definitely looks like it's related to that volcanic mountainside. And I'm assuming you're at the 1 minute mark too. I should have.
Yeah,
asked
I'm at about
beforehand.
103 here, where the animation is done. We're just kind of walking around. There is a lava pouring out of some structure over here. Worth noting
Yeah,
as
there's like-
well, this looks like it's early-ish game for energy tanks here, so probably at the first
Okay.
third, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so initially I thought that that lava was pouring out of the rocks, but if you look closely, it's actually this artificial pipe structure that's cracked, and it's like leaking lava almost. So that'll be interesting to see what's going on there. Was this area attacked? Was this just is it just decaying? Who knows? But I thought that was a little interesting detail there. Something else that's going on though at the 59 to 1 minute mark. While Samus is still on the bike, if you look closely, there's a targeting indicator on the left-hand side that's focused on this rocky structure that has like this kind of green glowing light on it. When Samus gets off the bike, though, there's no targeting indicator. So whatever that is, it looks like only the bike can interact with it. I'm not sure if that's an enemy or a device or a structure, but yeah, it's something that specifically the bike can interact with, I presume.
Yeah, totally. And let's just take a look at this animation one more time since we're here. Man, this looks really, really slick. I think they just did a really great job with this. Obviously, we're going to be seeing this a lot during the course of the game.
My exact note here was at 102, Samus does the coolest flip ever, and we transition to traditional on-foot exploration. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so 104, this is like clearly the same area here. We've got a big magma sack looking enemy here with a very evil eyeball in the middle. So that's an enemy for us as well. Looks very cool. You can see the missiles being used.
Yeah, there was actually a little bit more stuff I wanted to point out first before I get into that. So first off, once Samus gets off the bike, we actually notice the danger indicator active. I think that's just related to all the magma that's surrounding us. But one thing that really caught my eye, if you look at the missile icon, it's actually different than all the missile icons that we've seen before. If you look at the reveal trailer, if you look at the Vuros trailer, if you look at the Switch 2 demo that takes place during that reveal trailer. The missile icon, it looks kind of like a traditional missile icon. This one has a unique design. It almost kind of reminds me of like not the missile expansions, but like what the missile pickups look like in Metroid Prime 2 when you're absorbing them with the charge beam. It almost kind of looks like that. And so I'm almost wondering there's basically two options here. Either A, they just change the missile icon, or B, and what I think is going on is I think this is a stackable missile upgrade that Samus has acquired, potentially a super missile, even because when Samus actually fires the missiles, I couldn't really see anything too different with it. But I think this might be alluding to a stackable missile upgrade of some sort.
Let's see, because she's gonna fire a missile here. So let's go to one. Oops. Let's go back to 105. Oh, there it is in full speed, that animation. Absolutely love it. So let's watch this in real time. There goes the missile. Yeah, it does look pretty standard. Reticle looks really cool. I actually barely even see the missile being fired here. But
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, because she's firing it up close. There's another one later on where she's fighting the robot enemies that we'll talk about because they definitely have some notes about them. And again, I couldn't really tell any difference between that missile and the missiles she fires in the other trailers. So that's why I'm thinking like either it's an icon change, or if it is an upgrade, probably like a super missile, something that increases the attack power of the missile. I don't think there's going to be like any sort of like bonus effects, at least with this missile upgrade, if that is indeed what it is.
I mean, it's worth noting as well, like Samus's arm cannon is purple. The missiles come out with kind of that purple hue to them. Is that like a psychic missile? Who knows? But definitely worth noting. You know what else is worth noting too is that the firing reticle looks similar to Metroid Prime Federation Force, in that there's like the general target area, but it looks like there's room for precision in there as well. I don't know if that's just a visual coincidence, but I have to say I hope it doesn't function like that. But it does look like that is the case.
Well, it looks like I think lock-on free aim. That's what I'm thinking of. It looks like the lock-on free aim feature that was introduced in Prime 3, which was an option that you can toggle on and off, including in the Prime trilogy. So I would imagine it would be similar here in Prime 4.
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea that I'm getting. The purple arm cam was actually also seen in the Vuros trailer as well, so that's not something new. I am still curious if that's just something Samus gets immediately when she transports to Vuros with like I was about to say the vision gem, but I'm wondering if that happens or if that's like a specific upgrade she acquires. Obviously, we don't know that yet.
I mean, to be fair, like I think like the missiles look like basically the same. I don't know if I'd read too much into the upgrade, but I mean, maybe, maybe.
Yeah, I can't see any difference with the actual missiles itself. It was just the icon really stood out to me. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it could be just that they changed the icon for the final game, but I'm hoping that it's an upgrade. That would be really cool. There's also, if we look in the background, there's this anti-air gun in the background. It looks like it's not powered up, but I believe this is a Lamorne origin because it features very similar texture work to some of the other Lamorne devices that we've seen. So I don't think it's Federation, don't think it's Space Pirates. I think that this is some sort of Lamorne weapon. And again, it looks like an anti-air gun specifically.
Okay, let's fast forward to 107 here. Something wild is going on.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this.
So it looks like almost like the similar kind of idea to Chozo Ghosts here, except we have 3 like apparitions that very clearly mimic Samus. Like, so the visor, the arm cannon, looks like some sort of shield in their other arm there, and beams coming out of them. Don't know what's going on here, but some sort of enemy to fight. Looks very cool. Maybe it's just a coincidence that they kind of look like Samus, but these things look pretty spooky, but pretty fun.
Yeah, so I believe these are the same Chozo statue-looking figures that are on the cover art that are kind of like surrounding the vista. They look almost exactly the same, and I'm actually starting to wonder whether or not these things are actually Chozo, like I initially predicted. That being said, though, they are firing purple beams. So again, definitely looking like they're firing that Vuros energy, and it looks like I'm not sure if that's a shield or if that's like a wing, because that almost look like in the cover art, it almost looks like those are wings, but it's hard to tell. They definitely have like some sort of thruster that's activating their flight. They look like some sort of security robot that's like guarding the area. There's gonna be another one, another type of robotic enemy that has similar design features. So I'm definitely feels like some sort of security measure.
Yeah, and now that we fast forward to 108, it looks like there's a light on their back, which looked kind of like ghostly originally, but now maybe that's just like their jetpack or something like that. Looks like Samus kind of took them out with one hit, so I mean maybe they're not that tough, but let's keep going here. We'll fast forward to 108. We can see some more security drones, complete with the alarm on the top of their head, looking very much like the enemies from Metroid Prime 2 and Sanctuary Fortress, whose name escapes me, but very similar design.
Quads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're firing those exact same those purple beams as well that the other enemies were firing too. So they're definitely related in some way.
Cool map, by the way. If we pause at 110 here, I do like that the mini map. It looks like it has elevator like markers on it, or some kind of marker. Anyways, I'm presuming that's an elevator. So I do like that actually, to show you that you can go like up and down, and just a little bit more interactivity with the maps. Because I can admit sometimes it's like, especially because they're like that 3D view, it could be difficult to make heads or tails of the map unless you're really familiar with them.
Yeah, I believe Papa Rick pointed that out on our Discord. So
Yeah.
shout out to the Papa for pointing that out initially.
Big Papa, we love Big Papa. Okay, anything to say on here before we move on to the desert again?
Nope. My next note is at 111, so I'm just gonna go there.
111. Okay, I'm at 111 right now, and here we are. This I thought was so awesome. Like that again. I'm a big desert defender here. I got like such like Game of Thrones, or just like, like creepy desert nighttime vibes here. I thought that this looks so cool. Looks like there's this big nasty gnarly storm. You've got structures in the distance. You've got, almost looks like a power line running from what to what, we don't know, but it looks like there is like a huge structure. If we fast forward to 112, it looks like there is like some kind of big structure that we can see just before it cuts to the wolves. I am really excited to play this. This looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, so this is more of an ice environment. I think we are on the mountainside that
maybe
we
it's
saw
snow
in the desert. I think I'm almost positive this is an ice environment here. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this scene right here. So there's, I don't know if it's the bike itself, but something that looks like the bike is buried in the snow, just in front of Samus. Yeah, it's a little too in the background, a little too blurry, where I could see if like some of the details might be a little different. So it could be the bike, could be something different, but it's definitely something similar. And Samus is looking at this wolf-like alien in the background, and of course, immediately after, she's going to hear like these wolf cries, turn around to see like an entire pack stampeding at her, and that's gonna happen at the 114 mark. If we look forward as the camera pans, we can actually see that power line tram looking structure. It's going into this giant Lemorne structure. And it's very distinctly Lemorne with the design details on it.
It looks really interesting.
Yeah. So I think that's where the power line is leading to. We also see like these little these like lights poking out of the snow as well. Those look like almost like guides or signposts to kind of help the player navigate like this large snowy region. I think this might potentially be another open zone, but we'll see.
Very possible. I thought this was the coolest moment of the trailer, with all of these wolves just charging up. And at first glance, they don't appear to be like super alien-like, but when you really look at them, Like they've got all of these spikes along their top, around like their snout. Their eyes are glowing red. I thought this was like just such a cool look for these ice wolves. And I'm at 113 going into 114, and you get a really close up look at them. They almost look like, geez, like almost like Triceratops sort of like kind of vibes here.
Yeah, these look so cool.
This is probably the coolest moment of the trailer, I think, for me. We'll fast forward to 113.
Not
So
I have a lot to talk about at the 114 mark. So there's a ton of like really cool background details here.
yeah, so we'll get there. So at 113 we can see, so we're a little bit further in, so we're at 5 energy tanks. We can see here that now we have, in addition to the missiles, we have what I'm presuming is like a flamethrower or fire missiles or something that uses fire, because the fire icon is active. And now there are 2 separate, there's a missile counter there, and I mean, I would assume that the other counter is related to the fire ammo that you have. No map, because it looks like you're in the middle of a snowstorm here. Man, this looks really spectacular, and just like an absolute ton of these wolves around you.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to highlight that actually. If you look at the, you can see like some of the wolves in like the background. If you look at your mini map, that thing is lit up. That is probably the most red dots I've ever seen on a Metroid Prime mini map. Like
there's about 20 enemies there. Yeah,
there are so many. This definitely feels like a big mini boss encounter. Yeah, you can also barely see in front of you. The wolves are like circling around you and then attacking in like groups of 3 or 4. It looks like a really cool fight, so I'm very excited to see how that plays out. Obviously, the big thing I do want to talk about is that flame icon, though. So yeah, there's a big flame icon. There's a new ammo indicator by the missiles. It's possible that these are the same, but one thing I do want to point out is the missile ammo indicator shares the same icon with the missile. The flamethrower icon, or whatever that is different than this other ammo indicator on the right side. So it's possible that they are still related, but I did just want to point that out.
I wonder if it's a separate ammo indicator for psychic missiles, because that has the same psychic logo on it, actually, rather than like your standard missile logo.
It does. It has that same. It reminds me kind of that that homing psychic missile where you have like the 3 triangles that circle each other. I don't know if it's related to that, because obviously that happens much earlier in the game and we don't have that indicator when it happens, so it's hard to say, but there is some similarities with that. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. The thing that really stuck out to me, though, is if you look closely, the max missile count is the exact same as this new ammo indicator. So I'm almost wondering, is this another type of missile? Or if it's not, are we not collecting missile expansions? Are we collecting like ammo expansions that maxes out our increase for all of our ammo systems? Because it looks like each of the ammo systems aren't shared either. We see Samus with 62 missiles, and we see she has 70 of whatever this other item is. There's other points in the trailer where the roles are going to be switched, where she has more missiles and less of this. So I don't think it's a shared ammo system, but at the same time, I can't help but notice that she has the same maxed out count on either of those. So very interesting to see the relationship that those play together.
Yeah. Curious. I wouldn't mind, actually, like the reintroduction, let's just call it, of universal ammo expansions. I think that would be perfectly fine, especially if like maybe down the road like you can pick up a shock coil or something like that. I wouldn't be against that like whatsoever. One thing that I do notice here is that it kind of looks like you're still playing by the rule of 4. So like your 4, let's call it, weapons look like they're mapped to here. I wonder how visors are going to work, if we're going to have different types of visors. I was hoping for just like a pop-up wheel that you could select from, like, maybe 4 to 6 to however many different types of, missile upgrades or beams or whatever have you. So we'll obviously have to wait and see, what becomes of that.
If anything, it might at least be 5, because, the arm cannon looks like it's separate from, or the traditional beam, I should say, looks like it's going to be stackable like in Prime 3, and that it's going to be separate from whatever these 3 weapons are. And again, I'm still not entirely sure if this flame icon is related to this new ammo indicator, just because those are different icons. So there could be more under the hood than we realize.
Potentially.
But
it certainly
we'll have to wait
suggests
and
that
see.
there's like a weapon if you're, having the flame there. But that being said, if it was a weapon, you would think this might be the time to use it in this encounter. Maybe they just didn't want to show it that early, but I mean, I just did a quick count. Like, there are 25 red dots on that map, so there's a lot of wolves around to fight for sure. Okay, let's keep going. We're at 116. We're gonna press play, and we're pausing at 117. There is some sort of Lemorne structure temple thing. Again, very, very HR Geiger coded here. Lots of like imagery in the background that looks to be just like moving and swirling, exactly how the original temple in Alien did, which looks so cool. You saw that again in Prometheus.
It almost looks like a pocket dimension of some sort. It's hard to tell, but it looks like its own unique location, like separate from like everything else. If you look closely, so it's actually Samus is actually standing on a different platform, and this structure is a giant outstretched arena of some sorts. And in the cutscene, there's another structure that's like sinking into the ground. This definitely looks like a boss fight cutscene.
Oh, totally,
totally. Something.
Yeah, you're definitely about to throw down here for sure. Okay, let's keep going. So we're gonna pause it at 118, and actually, there's kind of a funny animation here because it looks like Samus is gearing up to to do something untoward, but no, it is in fact the return of presumably the grapple lasso or some sort of equivalent to it. Looks like it's powered by psychic abilities here. Very, very cool, and a welcome return. I liked this.
This was a huge pop-off moment for me, because that was actually one of my biggest disappointments with the Prime 4 reveal. It's like, man, it's all stuff that Samus could do in Prime 1. Like, one of my favorite things about Prime 3 was the grapple lasso, but it's not seen here, and it's still not showing up the second trailer. They probably just didn't include it because, waggle motion controls aren't cool anymore. No, baby, the grapple lasso is back. That's my favorite part of Prime 3. So I'm so happy to see it return. I'm sure there's going to be, and as you mentioned, this time it's coming out of the palm of Samus's hand, and it does have that purple Lemorne energy. So I definitely think this is going to be like a psychic grapple that Samus acquires, and we can see her using it in the next scene, like the traditional grapple lasso.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be other psychic related uses to that as well. And man, I'm so excited that this ability is returned. This was a huge pop off moment for me.
Doesn't necessarily look like it is, or sorry, Doom, just really quick. Doesn't necessarily look like it's like motion controlled either. Like, you can see the L and then it just says L down. So like, I actually like really like that, because I didn't love like wig-waggling myself either. Like, if we can do it with buttons or have the option, I think that's really great.
Which little fun throwback trivia, that was what I proposed for the controls on my very first episode of Omega Metroid. We were doing Prime Trilogy control schemes. That was how I proposed translating the grapple lasso to buttons. So
God, that was a long time ago, Doom.
Clearly someone at Retro, is a big fan of Omega Metroid.
I don't want to say that we're influencers here, okay? But the grapple lasso is back in no small part because of this podcast.
Yeah. If we look at when the camera zooms out right before the beginning of that grapple lasso scene, we see her using it. If we look in the top left hand corner, there's a morph ball tunnel that's curving around, and there's this kind of neon green light at the end of the tunnel. There's something in there, but it's not moving, so I don't think it's like an expansion, but I could be wrong. But there's definitely some sort of object at the end of that tunnel that's curling around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I didn't notice that. I really like the way that the grapple beam looks, like with the psychic energy. I think it looks like really slick in here.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Okay, so 121, we're gonna press play. Oh, and speaking of morph ball tunnels, baby, here we go. So some sort of morph ball tunnel, and could this be the one that we were referencing earlier above the entranceway when you jump in? Doesn't look like the exact same thing, but it definitely is part of that Geiger temple that we see. You're clearly right in the midst of the storm because there is rain and tons of lightning around you as you're rolling through this morph ball tunnel. Very, very cool looking, and a classic staple of Metroid Prime back for Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, before we get into that, I did want to talk about the grapple lasso gene just for a quick second, because I really do want to talk about the morph ball tunnel. Like that looks so awesome. But if we so first off, like I pointed out before, Samus has more missiles than the other ammo this time, so proof that they're not a shared ammo system. But again, they do have the same total. But inside the container that Samus breaks open, there's these kind of almost, they're clearly not super missiles, I think, but almost super missile looking objects. One of them has this green kind of emerald energy, and the others are totally blank. So there's definitely something about that that's important, obviously, since we can break open the tank. But I'm very curious to see what those artifacts are. I just wanted to point that out real quick, because I want to talk about this morph ball tunnel, because I'm a sucker for some good morph ball tunnels. It's another reason why I love Sanctuary Fortress so much, as well as Skytown. And yeah, put this bad boy in the Hall of Fame. It's a straight line, but my goodness, it's one of the coolest straight lines that I've ever seen. I love the design here. I love how you can actually see like this morph ball tunnel. It's hoisted by these lines. That's why it's not like sagging. It's held by these cables. And this is why I believe that it's an artificial storm being created, because if we look at because like you mentioned, it does look like we're in kind of like the eye of the storm here. And if you look at the end of this, or like if you look near the center of that morph ball tunnel, there's this spinning device that is just profusely emitting like lightning, and it definitely feels like that's some sort of storm generator. And like maybe that's like the mini puzzle of this area is like, the area starts off with a perpetual storm, and as we fully unlock the area, it's to ultimately disarm the storm to unlock something else later down the line. That's kind of the vibes that I'm getting with this. Again, such a cool vista, such a cool little piece of art direction. There's also these little disc-like structures that it looks like Samus can enter from the morph ball tunnel. I have no idea what purpose those serve.
Very, very interesting. So we'll fast forward just a bit here, and we're gonna go to 123. So these all look like they're part of like a similar sequence, because like the same amount of energy tanks, same amount of like missiles that are kind of on board here. Looks like almost like a little suspension bridge, and maybe the same storm here, because it looks like a pretty not held together very well type of bridge here, as we're going to see in the next scene, as we can see it just literally collapsing.
So I don't think that this is the storm area. I think we're actually back in the ice area here, because if we look at Samus's missile count, she has that she's still topped out at 80. Weirdly enough, so this time the ammo indicators, she has 63 of each this time, which is interesting. I think that's just a coincidence, because again, I don't think it's going to be shared ammo from what else we've seen in the trailer.
Yeah, no, I think this is like the same gameplay loop as what we just saw with like the other enemies and the grapple last ones, because like everything else looks pretty similar. Yeah.
And there's a windstorm going on. Samus like puts her hand. So first off, if our movement speed is much slower in this area to kind of like emphasize just how intense the winds are, and Samus does this really cool putting her hand up animation to like block some of the intense wind. Someone else pointed this out too. If you look closely at Samus's arm cannon, it actually has a ton of ice buildup on it, which is like this really cool detail to show how cold the area is. Really, the only time we've seen that before is with the ice beam. That was a cool effect on its own, but just a beam exclusive effect. This is like an environmental effect to the arm cannon, which I think looks awesome. It's probably just for show, but I wonder if there's also maybe like a gameplay mechanic, like, oh, Samus's arm cannon is frozen, and so you have to figure out clever ways to unfreeze the arm cannon to unlock other portions of the area. Probably, I'm guessing it's probably not going to be that. It's probably just a really cool visual effect, but yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. There's also some, if you look in the distance, there's like 3 purple lights that's on that canyon side there as well. It kind of gives me just kind of like signpost vibes. But yeah, they definitely peer out through some of the murkiness there.
Well, let's go to the next scene where the bridge is collapsing. This looks really cool, actually. This reminds me of a Sylux kind of But yeah, so Samus has barely made it across. This bridge is doing some really, really funky destroying mechanisms. Looks like the wind is just absolutely crushing it here. A very cool shot, I think. And here you know what? Hold on. Before we even get there, because I don't want to get distracted once we get there. Do you have anything to follow up on before we transition to our next scene?
Yeah, so I was going to say, so this isn't the exact same. Obviously, it's the same type of structure that Samus was just walking on. It also has like that little windmill thing pointing out, but it's a different one because this one is going back to some other sort of natural formation ice structures in the background. So I'm guessing this is on the same path, but we're just on a different portion of the path. This is clearly like a classic Metroid moment where something happens and we're trapped and we have to figure out a new weapon to get ourselves across. I will say that's a pretty long gap. That's a good space jump / screw attack size gap to traverse, and no grapple points overhead as far as I can tell.
Okay, are you ready?
Let's get to the next scene.
The next scene. So we're at 125. We're gonna press play. Here we go.
All right.
The man himself.
One thing before we talk about our boy. So these same so before we see Sylux, we see some crates being moved by some cranes. These are the exact same crates that we saw at the very beginning of the trailer where Samus first pops out into the desert. These are the exact same types of crates that are strewn about. So again, you can a much better look at them. Clearly not Galactic Federation crates, but also could either be Lemorne, could be Space Pirate, not sure, but just wanted to point that out. But yeah,
let's focus on our man here, because I mean the crates are cool, but like Sylux is cooler, and Sylux's descent. So Sylux definitely looks like he's got some powerful upgrades here of some sorts, because he is literally levitating downwards towards presumably Samus here. And first and foremost, like Sylux's his design is super cool. He's went through, I'm going to pause at 128. So he's went through a couple of armor upgrades here. So he's got a big plate on his chest, which I believe is new, and potentially maybe that's where he got shot by Samus. I don't know. But almost reminds me of Meta Ridley, because like I feel like that's going to be his weak point later. And it does look like the spikes on his shoulders maybe got a little bit reinforced as well. Or maybe this is just our real first close-up of Samus, or of Sylux, excuse me, in like real HD here. But like this shot just looks absolutely spectacular. Sylux just looks so awesome in this trailer.
Yeah, just absolutely ore farming here. You'll love to see it.
Oh god, pausing it at 129, the close-up of the face. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, definitely another boss fight cutscene about to happen here. Yeah, and then Sylux is levitating. I talked about this last time. It almost looks like he has a jetpack of some sort.
Yeah.
Because if you look closely during the movement, you can see these flutters of like energy happening behind him. So it almost looks like he got a jetpack of some sort.
Kind of, yeah.
And then. Yeah, and then much like the reveal trailer, we see another Sylux reflection in the in Samus's visor, which always a fan of visor reflections. Looks absolutely awesome here.
Yeah, and this is obviously deeper into the game. We've got the Viola suit there. Yeah, it definitely looks like some kind of boss encounter. And I wonder if this is the type of boss encounter where like Sylux is someone that you fight multiple times, or if Sylux is just coming down to maybe taunt Samus and throw a boss at her, something like that. But we'll see.
I'm definitely getting Dark Samus vibes from this for sure.
You know what? I'm pretty open to all ideas. Like if Samus fights Sylux multiple times, then great. If Samus fights Sylux just once at the end of the game, then great. Maybe if Samus fights Sylux early and then they end up teaming up together at the end against a much bigger threat, great. I will say, I hope that Sylux makes it out of this game, because we desperately need some more hunters in this series here. So we're at 130. Let's let it play. Here we go. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. The title screen. And the release date, December 4th, 2025. The journey to launch begins right now with the Metroid Prime 1 and 3 visual retrospective launching in about a month's time here, and the 28th of October. I've got mine pre-ordered. Did you get yours?
Oh, of course, yeah. I got two pre-ordered. One to keep sealed, one to open up and
Of
look
course.
out. We'll definitely be talking. We'll definitely be talking about that on the podcast once that.
Oh,
drops.
totally.
I'm sure
We'll
there's
go
gonna be
through it, maybe in two
all-
parts, actually.
Yeah, there's going to be all sorts of juicy info that I'm sure we're going to want to talk about. And of course, I got my amiibos pre-ordered as well. I think you just got yours.
I just got my so
pre-ordered,
they were not available to pre-order when they like came out, and so I was just like, okay. And I know that Dominique is pretty on the ball with that, so I asked him to hook me up with a link. So I got them. They're coming. I only ordered one because I'm not a keep amiibo in the box kind of guy. I just rip it out and use it and display it. So yeah, those amiibos are incoming as well. And those amiibo look great. Like they just look absolutely spectacular. Let's just go ahead actually for a quick second look at them because they're coming up here in a moment.
I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, here we go. 147. The amiibo. Oh my god, the amiibo just looks so good. The Viola in Samus amiibo in particular just looks like incredible. We talked about it last week. Love the Sylux crushing the skull of some poor galactic trooper.
Yeah. No, it's not a skull technically. It's a Federation helmet. It's not quite that brutal, but
Well, hey, you don't know what's in that helmet or
Federation
not,
helmet.
okay? Yeah.
Crushing a Federation helmet. Doing. A lot of people pointed this out as well. I think it actually might be a reference to his opening cutscene in Metroid Prime Hunters because he's doing that exact same roaring like pose after he kills that one Marine. So
Yeah.
I do kind of think it might be a Hunters reference. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty wild that in the year 2025 we have official Sylux merchandise. I gotta say, and I'm all here for it.
Oh, dude, it's nuts. Like, yeah, you know, I was just like really impressed with this trailer, and I know that some people weren't. I just gotta say, like, just watch the trailer. Think of the possibilities. Like, look at the desert. Is there an animation that could be fixed with the wheelie? Sure, totally. Maybe it's fixed already. Maybe it's not. If it's not, ask yourself, is that going to ruin this game for you? Ask yourself, like, is ripping around in these open areas going to be fun on Viola? I think the answer is going to be yes. And I think that the game looks so polished and just has so many new opportunities for Metroid. You know, like I think like I would have been okay with a Metroid Prime game that kind of played the hits, did what we're expecting, took it a little bit safe, and I don't even necessarily think that would have been the wrong way to go, like reintroducing people to Metroid Prime 4. But the fact that this game is like reaching for such heights and is taking such big swings, like I think that should be celebrated, and I think that just makes this so much more exciting to me. I thought that this trailer was like the best of the bunch. When people are just like, there hasn't been a good Metroid
100%.
Prime 4 trailer yet, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Because like, did we watch the same trailer or not? And like, again, we probably have more trailers coming, right? Like, as this trailer says, what does it say? The journey to launch begins. Okay, so there's probably a couple of more tidbits that are coming here, if not that one big cinematic trailer that everybody is really looking for. Do I think that every trailer could be the Breath of the Wild 2017 trailer? No, but like that's what makes that trailer so great is because it was like the perfect trailer. I think what we've got has been totally fine so far.
Yeah, the only one I'll say was a little bit weird was that second trailer, but I think that was largely just because of the Switch 2 looming so closely behind it. I think had they intersected a bit more cleanly, that whole thing would have been a lot cleaner. But yeah, this trailer, I absolutely love this trailer. Like I said, this is the trailer that really truly won me over. I don't really need to see any more trailers after this, frankly. Like, I'd be stunned if there's not more trailers. I would be stunned if there's not more trailers. I'll be honest, I wouldn't even be shocked to see a Metroid Direct at this point, which is something that I would have done a single digit on the Samus's percentage meter like a few weeks ago. But like, I actually could kind of see that. Not something I would bet a ton on, but I think it's in the realm of possibilities. I am fine at this point. Give me the guide, give me the amiibos. That's enough to tide me over until then. I'm pretty much good to go from this point. I don't know if you wanted to talk about this as well, because it's not really related to the trailer, but we saw the Japanese cover art, and there was a couple of new screenshots that was on the back of the cover. We could probably go over those real quick because I thought there's one screenshot in particular that I thought was really interesting, but I don't know if that's something you wanted to save for later. If you want to just quickly tackle those right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. We're in it now. Let's see what we can figure out here.
Yeah, so there's a couple of screenshots. So one of them, it shows Samus in front of this device that kind of reminds me of like the gyro chambers in Sanctuary Fortress. It has that kind of same structure. Yeah, not sure what that is, but that looks cool. The big screenshot, the one that everyone's talking about, is what looks like to be this friendly NPC character that Samus is interacting with, and she still has the Varia suit on at this point. So this is before she collects the Viola suit, but she still has the Vuros energy in her lights. But yeah, she's speaking. It almost looks like a Federation character, but it also kind of looks like maybe something else. But Samus is in a very relaxed and calm pose, so it doesn't look like a combat encounter. It looks like a friendly interaction going on, and yeah, that looks really interesting. I almost wonder if this is like a character that is going to be dishing out side quests, which is something that would be again completely new to Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
But that one really stuck out to me, and especially one that is on the back of the game box. So that tells me that it's that this is something like relatively important to the game.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the game box for like a clear picture of this for anybody just kind of following along with us here. But I'm pretty confident that like you're going to see side quests in this game, and so like an NPC like that to facilitate them, I think definitely makes sense. And I wouldn't like. It's really not out of the realm of possibility. Like at the beginning of the game when we see that artifact activate and the big blast of energy encompasses the planet that gets sucked back into Vuros. I mean, Sylux got taken by it. Like it's really not that big of a stretch to think that like maybe some of the other Federation members or someone also got sent back with this as well. So
I'm positive there's going to be Federation members there as well. I mean, we literally in the Vuros trailer, we see the Federation Force mech like in the vines.
So like I feel like there's going to be like live people for you to interact with, to maybe get side quests from. Like that totally makes sense to me. And I'm here for it. Like I think like one thing that I've just really it's been reinforced with me playing Silksong is like you can have a game that has a lot of NPCs around for you to talk to and still have that really isolated, lonely feeling that Metroid is famous for. So like I think you can have your cake and eat it too, especially with like these big open areas where like you really are going to feel alone in like the corner of the desert, like looking at this expanse that like who knows what could be out there, right? So I think that I think that that's likely, and I think that it's cool actually. Like it's some of the greatest moments I feel like in Super Metroid are like when you run into the Decora or like the Edakuns and it's not someone trying to kill you and you feel that bond. It's like I feel like you can kind of get the same feeling with NPC characters or someone of that effect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that screenshot really stuck out to me. Yeah, I'm sure maybe that's something we'll see in the next trailer. Who knows? But
maybe. Yeah.
The last thing, really the only other thing that I think we could talk about is the music, because we've pretty much gone over the entire trailer. And I don't know what your thoughts are. Because I'm kind of mixed on the music. I don't want to use the word concern because I think that's a bit hyperbolic, and frankly I've enjoyed what I've heard, but I love electric guitar. It's probably my favorite instrument, but when I think of Metroid, I don't really think of electric guitar. Like it's in there a little bit in the Prime game specifically, little hints of that, but every single trailer there is very prominent electric guitar sections, and this one in particular, like the entire trailer is like crazy guitar solos and everything, which sound great, again, but for me, like Metroid, a good Metroid soundtrack to me is like is again that diegetic gray area where the sound and the music, coalesce and become one, where it's its own unique character. And so I need to play the game and hear it for myself to see how those guitars really contribute and interact with the soundtrack. But again, I don't want to use the word concerned. I'm curious and slightly raising an eyebrow, but curious to see what my thoughts are going to be after I play the game. But that was something that really stuck out to me, kind of in the totality of the trailers that we've seen. It's just the amount of guitar work present here feels like it's more than the entirety of the Metroid Prime trilogy in just these 3 trailers alone.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like concerned at all. I think that it's like, again, like, I think that you want each entry to feel somewhat distinct, and that can bleed over to many different areas. And like, if Metroid Prime 4 kind of has like a more guitar-centered OST, I think that's totally fine. It gives it a little bit of personality. I'm sure that you're going to hear some like some familiar synthy Metroid Prime style tracks there, and probably a couple covers as well.
We already have with the Vuros theme too.
Right. So like, I think you're going to see those covers, but like I don't mind like interjecting a little bit of guitar to give it some personality too. And granted too, like a lot of the times when we've heard the guitar has been in kind of like actiony scenes in the trailers. So like, again, like I don't mind that at all. I would be curious to see like what the soundtrack is going to look like in some of the quieter areas, but I'm not concerned really like at all.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not concerned. And again, I like what I'm hearing. It's just, it's not necessarily what I associate with Metroid, but
hey, riding a bike isn't either,
Yeah, I was about to say 2 weeks ago I wouldn't have associated a motorcycle with Metroid. Now I'm like, yes, please, give me more of that actually. So yeah, it's just something that stuck out. It's not how I would write a Metroid soundtrack, but just because it's not how I would write a Metroid soundtrack doesn't mean it's going to be a bad soundtrack. So I'm keeping an open mind with it, and yeah, I'm more so just curious to see what this guitar work is going to add to the Metroid soundscape.
And I think that's a good segue. This is the last thing we'll kind of say. Then I think we'll probably get out of here, but I do think that like I can totally understand the reaction of fans that when they see a motorcycle in Metroid, their first thought is just like, what the hell is this, right? Like, this is not the Metroid that I know. And it's not, but I do think that like sometimes change can be really good. Like it can open up doors, that it can open up a series to a whole bunch of new people. I always use this as an example, but I mean, like, Zelda drastically changed on the Switch, and that completely leveled up what that franchise was. That took an already really popular series into the stratosphere. And I just think that like embracing that change isn't always necessarily the worst thing. Yes, some elements might be a little bit different, but I think as long as like the core of the experience is the same, like you're still going to be able to enjoy that. And from everything I've seen, like the core experience here is looking to be the same with some natural evolution. So I guess what I'm saying is like if you weren't like in love with the trailer for that reason, you know what, fair, okay, that I get it. I think if you're saying like the desert looks bad or whatever, I don't know if I agree with you. Like, we've seen a collective like 30 seconds of footage, and we just went frame by frame, and I thought it all looked great. So yeah, there we have it. So that was the latest trailer. Maybe the last trailer, maybe not. I'm assuming probably not. But if it was the last trailer, I feel like that sold me on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and hopefully it sold you guys as well. So, okay, any final thoughts before we jam on out of here?
I am so excited to request the week of December 4th off from work.
I already did.
I'm still trying. I'm trying to save a little bit more vacations. I want to request the entire week off. I can request like 3 or 4 days, but I want like a full week off to really dig into this game.
Yeah, I took off the 4th. So the 4th and then the 5th, I believe, is a Thursday, Friday, and I took off the Monday too. And I'm just like, do I take off like that whole week? I could. Do I? I don't know. We'll see. All right. That's it, my friends. We are going to get out of here. Let us know If there's any details that you found in the trailer, any theories that you have, anything that we missed, anything you want us to expand on. And you can do that next week when we open up the Q&A block to everybody. So we are taking your fan questions about Metroid Prime 4. We already have like a ton of questions in our Discord, so hop on in, join, and ask a question in there. Check us out over on Blue Sky. You can ask a question there as well. Get in on the action, and we'll answer every Metroid question that comes our way. So make sure that you are doing that. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Go like, subscribe, recommend, review, rate, all that kind of good stuff. If you got a Metroid fan in your life, tell them where they can get their weekly Metroid fix. As mentioned earlier, patreon.com/spnet. We got you covered in terms of all the bonus Metroid stuff there. You can get the entirety of the Great Metroid area ranking, tons of Metroid ROM hack reviews, and a lot of other good stuff there as well. $4 gets you in the door, so consider taking your Omega Metroid love to the next level. As we mentioned, check us out over on YouTube. This will be a really great episode to watch on YouTube because we'll have the video up there so you can kind of follow along with Doom and I as we zip zap and watch this trailer frame by frame. And of course, OmegaMetroid.com has you covered for Metroid news and guides and maps and anything that you can think of. We've got you over at OmegaMetroid.com. Lastly, give us a follow over on Blue Sky at Omega Metroid, at Spiteri316, at Doomwell Cross. That, my friends, is going to do it for us. So until next week, everybody, take care. Bye.